Hi YouTube, my name's Morgan Abbott. I am making this video here today because I had a problem with my transfer case on my 2005 Duramax, and it was making a bunch of noise, throwing my truck into limp mode. It would get stuck into like certain gears and stuff. It would pretty much lock into whatever gear I was in. Um, my vehicle speed sensor was flipping out like crazy. When I took the vehicle speed sensor off, out to replace it, it was like cupped, and it's not supposed to be cupped. It's supposed to have a flat surface. It would be cupped or really badly grooved and stuff. So that just told me right then and there that there was something, sloppy in my transfer case, and it definitely needed some service. I figured it was probably the bearings, internal bearings, and yeah, it was definitely them and quite a bit more. So, and I'll explain more about it as I go on. So, anyways, I'm making this video because I couldn't find any videos on YouTube that had any good detail on how to take these apart and put them back together. Most people just wanted to make a video on how to fix the pump rub issues, which is great. There's a bunch of those videos. If you want to do a pump rub replacement deal, there's plenty of good ones on there. You can't really mess it up. It's not a very difficult job to do. So if you're having pump rub issues, yeah, there's plenty of great videos out there for you to check out. And including this, if you don't have pump rub issues yet, but you're running a stock transfer case, it's never been messed with, you probably should take it off, have somebody service it, or whatever, however you want to do it. But anyways, there's plenty of options out there for what you're going to run into. This is a little kit that Merchant Automotive makes. It's like $70 or something like that. It's nice billet aluminum. It's light, but it's good. It's got these big fat tabs on it, which sit in the casing and prevent the pump on the inside from rubbing into the casing and rubbing a hole through your casing, your tail casing. That's the typical that happens because the tail cases, the entire case, I believe, is made of what is that called? It's the same shit them Beetles were made out of. Anyways, the Beetle engine blocks from the 60s. It's very flammable too. If it catches on fire, it's all sparkly and shit. I can't remember what the hell it is off the top of my head. But anyways, very soft. So any type of steel or anything in, rubbing up against it or whatever can rub holes in it. And so the pump is really thin. It's got really thin tabs like these, thin wise this way. And they act pretty much like a knife or whatever and carve into it, and then you get a hole, and then all your oil goes all over the ground, and you have no oil in it, and then everything explodes. Well, something similar to me happened. It wasn't actually the pump. I thought it was, so I bought this kit before I bought my rebuild kit also. I bought it right along with it because I was like, okay. Well, anyways, the kit mentioned that I bought the kit. It came with gasket seals and bearing seals. Came with all kinds of stuff. It also came with a new tail casing. Well, it came with an aluminum tail casing, which is great because now I didn't actually need this, and I didn't realize it, and I should have read into it, and because it actually said it in the stuff. And then a buddy of mine told me that once you have the aluminum one, you can run the regular pump, and you don't need the Merchant Automotive pump rub kit. So this is $70, and then just one of these tail cases is like 110. So it's up to you whether you want to keep the original tail case or not. If you've got a hole in yours, get rid of obviously you have to get rid of that tail case, and might as well get the aluminum one, and then you don't need this anymore, and you'll never have the problem ever again. So anyways, so what happened with mine, and I will show you, is, let me get some light going on here. Right here on the tail case is the plug, and I have a bunch of silicone and crap around it right now because it leaks a little bit because I busted it. Anyways, it's hard to see because there's so much damn glare, but there's a keeper ring that goes around a bearing on here. You have to take this keeper ring off to get the tail case separated from the front case. If you don't disconnect this, it will not come apart at all. This is made to keep the bearing into the tail case itself. So you have to spread it apart and then take like a flathead screwdriver and then just move it one direction or the other, and it will move out of the way enough where you can split the case. Also, when you go to split the case, you need to take out the vehicle speed sensor. This is what I was saying, it was all grooved and stuff. That's how it's supposed to look. Mine, the ones that I had, and I don't see any in front of my face, but they were grooving pretty bad. Some of these get pretty damn expensive too, so you don't want to be replacing those all the time. So anyway, yeah, like I said, get in there, spread that sucker. Once you do that, you can just pick up, let me zoom out a little bit here. You can pick up, I'm going to set this right here actually. Is that good? Looks fairly good. Maybe a little glare going on there, but hopefully not too bad. You just pick it straight up. It'll come off after you unbolt your 10mm bolts all the way around. Once you get that off, look in here, and this is what I was talking about. The pump will sit in here. Right here is the notches for where the pump sits, and on the original casing, it'll just rub right through these. So with the aluminum one, I don't ever have to worry about that anymore. So like I said, I don't need the kit. But then here's that keeper ring that I was talking about, and there's a groove set up here, and your bearing sits right in there, and you get that ring around the bearing, and it keeps it in place so it doesn't shift around in the casing. Also, right here, you will want to check this roller bearing setup here. Let me trying to fix my lighting situation. It's a bit dark in my shop. You'll want to check this, make sure this is good. This is a brand new one. They usually come, when you buy this kit, it comes already pre-pressed in it. But I also bought another kit that came with one in case you wanted to replace it yourself. You can do it too, not a big deal. So anyways, yeah, that's basically the tail case end of it. There's not too much going on with it. You know, I usually fill from the speed sensor hole, fill my fluid up in there. This is your fluid level hole or a fill hole also, and then this is your drain hole down here. Plain and simple. Not much to be said about this. This is the more technical end of it. Now, let's see here. Okay, oh, I didn't put that back in. All right, that's fine. So, next thing I do to make this simpler, to take this apart, is right here is where this bad boy goes. This is your shifter motor, and then it goes on here with 3 bolts or whatever. I take this off so that way I can move the little gear setup in here, the lever setup. So once I do that, then I can actually move some shit around in here easier. You also want to take this plug out. It goes right here on the bottom of that motor, on the casing part. It's got this little bullet deal, a spring, and then the plug itself with an O-ring. You want to make sure that that O-ring's good. And it goes in here, screws down tight, and it actually acts as like a little stopper for the lever system for your shifting. Makes the clicking noises you would hear normally out of it. Once you take this out, you won't hear clicking noises. So if you're hearing clicking noises, you know that this is still in it. So anyways, let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. This thing's fairly heavy. It's not super heavy, but it's got some weight. So anyways, I took the chain off already. Normally there's a chain that goes from here, from this gear to this gear. This is your mode wheel gear. And when it's locked in place, it'll spin your 4-wheel drive output shaft gear here, and then you'll get 4-wheel drive. When you have it in 2-wheel drive, the mode fork will be in a different position along with moving the mode ring, and it will make this move freely. So you'll only be in 2-wheel drive. Like right now, it's set in 4-wheel drive. So, and when you put this back together, I highly suggest making sure that you put it in 2-wheel drive, because if you try to put it in 4-wheel drive, you try to put the case together, you will break something in here. Most likely this. I did that the first time. I busted one of my mode forks. Brand new one, putting it together. Everything was kind of going together fine, and then it got a little tight, and I just thought it was normal, and no. And then I heard a big pop, and then I tore the damn thing apart, and I split the sucker in half. So that really sucked. That was $40 out the friggin' out the wazoo, I guess. So anyways, so this is your output shaft. This is the output end. Input from your transmission is on this end. The output shaft on your transmission slides into this guy right here. You'll have 6 bolts that bolt to the transmission. So to get this guy, to get the chain off first, I found it easier to, like I said, take that motor off, take that plug out. Once you do that, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to pull this shaft out. So you take this spring off, which is, the spring is just to help this mode fork move back and forth, like, or to retract. So you just pull this guy right here, just pull this dowel out. Once you do that, it releases the mode fork for 4-high and 2-wheel drive, and it releases the one in the back underneath all of this. That's for your 4-low. So now once you do that, this guy will wiggle around more. You can actually pull it out some, and you should be able to get that chain off easier. If you don't want to do that, you can actually just take like a flathead screwdriver, put it in here, one of these teeth or whatever, roll this sucker, and then just slowly push, roll, push, roll, push, roll until you get one side of the chain off, and then you can take it off from there. So anyway, let's see. This is how it sits, pretty much. Now, here's your output shaft bearing, your tone wheel, and your pump. And then, like I said, your gear for your chain for four-wheel drive, your mode fork, and your mode ring. And then there's more shit when I start pulling this apart. To pull it apart, you'll want to start with your pump pickup line. It's got this little filter set up right here. Nothing special. It's not a filter that you ever have to replace unless you break it. It has like no paper or anything in it. It's just empty. It's mainly just it's a screen. It's just to catch debris. So you take that guy out, make sure you clean it before you put it back in. And then if you do not see the O-ring on this guy, which you do not see it on this one, that means it's inside the pump. If it's not inside the pump, you're missing one, you need one. When you go to put this guy back together, if you don't have that O-ring in there, it'll just sit in there sloppy and it'll fall out super easy, and you will have problems because you will not be picking up oil and spreading it throughout the transfer case, and you'll have shit explode on you. So anyways, once you do that, then you can pull your mode fork out. This is my old mode fork. You can see it's wore to shit. That is because it was not actually this bad when I put it back in. I had made a mistake yet again. Made a mistake when I put it back together. I had put the mode ring on the wrong way. There is a right way and a wrong way, and it doesn't seem like there would be, but I will show you the right way. I learned the right way from a buddy on one of the Duramax groups on Facebook. He is a transfer case guy out of Dayton, Ohio. In fact, here he is right here. Nate's Transfer Case and Repair, Dayton, Ohio. That's his number right there. So if you are in the Midwest and you want to just have somebody work on your stuff, give this guy a call. He knows everything about pretty much every transfer case known to man, I'm sure. He's very knowledgeable. He helped me figure out what the heck I did wrong over the damn phone. Really awesome guy, easy to work with. He's got reasonable prices and lifetime warranties on his transfer cases. So check him out if you're in the Midwest. And if you're not, I'm sure he ships out to wherever. I know he'll take your transfer case in for a core and all that good stuff. So you can probably ship from anywhere. I wouldn't see why not. So give this guy a call. He knows his stuff. I trust him. So yeah, anyways, enough of the commercial. Once you got your mode fork out, well, actually, you could have just taken this whole shaft out. You didn't have to take the mode fork off, but might as well. So now you can just slide this out. You just wiggle it, slide it out. What will be left inside of here is your lower, or your 4-low mode fork. You can actually pull that out now, and then that's the mode fork, 4-wheel drive mode ring, So 4-low fork and mode ring. One other thing about that. Those pads right there, they're some type of Teflon or Kevlar, or I don't know what they are. There's some type of plastic or whatever. You need to have these on these mode rings or forks. If you do not have them on mode forks, your mode fork will end up looking like that, all destroyed, and you'll have shitloads of metal in your case. So when you get the kits, they usually come with replacement ones that you can clip on, glue on, whatever you want to do. I glued this one on. I actually just super glued it on because it wasn't quite fitting right, and it wasn't like staying on. So yeah, I helped it with super glue, and yeah, and it stays. So there we go. Same with this guy. This one's got a bigger setup, and this one is destroyed, and you can see all of that. This is I'm not exactly sure what it's called. It's basically a lower gyro gear for and this is on the transmission side of the transfer case. This is for your 4-low also. There is a way to take this guy apart. I am trying to locate the ring. Oh, there it is. Right here. Too much glare, but you can see it right here and right here. That's the entire ring all the way around. You can just take a screwdriver, pick that sucker, and the whole thing will just pop right out. Once you got that out, then you can take this seal off. You just take a flathead screwdriver, pry it, and pull that sucker out. Once you do that, the seal is destroyed. You can't reuse it. Then there is a keeper ring in there. You open that sucker up. There's not much room in there, so it's kind of a pain in the ass. But once you open that up and you get it off and slide it off this way coming up, then you can take something, put like a block or anything, and then just take like a hammer and pop it, and it should just pop right out. The whole unit will pop right out. And then I am not going to do it. It's not that big of a deal. But I don't have it torn apart enough for me to just easily take it apart. So anyway, so I'm not going to do that. But if you did tear that apart, you get into the bearing in there, and then you can replace your bearing and your cap and all that good stuff. There's needle bearings in here. And then the bearing for this guy here. So you replace that guy and you'll be good. You replace all that and you're good. If you get into this actual gear or gyro unit, there is on the other side of it, when you pull this out, there'll be a keeper ring that you can also use a screwdriver to just pull out, and you can separate the two halves. On the top of this, when you pull this out, and this will be on the bottom on your workbench or wherever, put this end on the bottom. On the top, you'll have, where the hell are they? You'll have these little rings. Oh, here they are. You'll have these rings on the top end of it. See, one of these rings is busted, so they're not supposed to be together. One busted, and there we go. You'll have one on the top. Usually it doesn't have the tabs. It'll be around the shaft part of the gyro setup. You need these are plastic setups. They're to keep metal to metal contact from happening. So you'll have one of these on the top, and then when you open it up, there'll be another one in the middle, or at the bottom of it, and that one will be the one with the tabs that you need. And you'll see, as soon as you look at this and you see the openings, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that goes right there. Okay, cool. So it's pretty simple or whatever. But if you don't have these in here, you'll have metal contact and premature wear, and then you'll have to buy new stuff. So make sure you check those out if you're getting that far into here. If you're not, then whatever. Right here, same type of setup for your output for the four-wheel drive. The bearing setup. You take the seal out. Seal is not reusable. Get a new seal. Remove the keeper ring and pop this sucker out. Put your new wheel bearing on, or your new bearing on, and put it all back together. Really easy. Not much needs to be said about that type of stuff. If it's not going in right, then you must not have the right parts, I guess, because it all pretty much goes together pretty easy. So that's it for that stuff right there. Now we'll get on to the main shaft and its setup. This is your output bearing, output shaft bearing. This is where that keeper clips to the tail shaft, the tail case, and keeps the tail case together with the transmission side of the case, along with the bolts and all that stuff, of course. But that keeps this unit from the whole damn unit from sliding back and forth. So this, once you, right here, another ring, get that off. You can slide this right off. This is your tone ring. You can just slide that right off too. This is for your vehicle speed sensor. This is what the magnet on the speed sensor picks up off of. That's how you get the speedometer to work. And then here's your pump. And this is a stock pump setup. Like I said before, Merchant Automotive. But if you have the aluminum case, you do not need this. If you have the original OEM case and it's not aluminum, then you just take these, when you take this pump off, you just take these screws out, take the cover off of this pump, match it up, put this on it, match up the holes, and screw it back together. Wham bam, super easy. Really, really easy to do. And then you can slide that off too, or whatever. You slide that off, and then there's not a whole lot more going on in here on this side. That's actually a stopper plate, basically, for this. This does not come any further this way. Now, I'm going to put this up in my vise, my shitty vise, just so it's standing up some more. All right. Now, like I was saying with the tone ring, this is the correct way to put this, or not tone ring, my bad, mode ring. The mode ring. This is the correct way to have this mode ring on this setup. If you have the teeth in the wrong place, it will grind when you put this sucker back together, and you will either not have four-wheel drive or it'll grind. So what had happened to me the first time around, I did it wrong. I did something wrong, and I got some grinding noises. The second time I pulled the transfer case out and put it back together after messing with this. And the reason why I got the grinding noise is actually this mode ring was upside down. It was flipped around the other way. This mode ring sets into this gear. If it doesn't set into the gear nicely, you have it upside down. Notice how it tapers too. It kind of tapers off. That needs to be up, okay? So and then this is where the mode ring or the mode fork sits. Make sure that this is good and clean. There's nothing in there, or you'll be tearing up your mode fork. But yeah, there are teeth all the way around the mode ring and teeth around your input, output, whatever the hell it is. Basically, this either will lock the gear, your chain gear, into 4-wheel drive, or it'll, when it's in the upper position, it will be in 2-wheel drive. These tabs right here, they're held in with this big ring too, which you can pop out with a screwdriver if you want. These rings depress in. You can actually depress them all in, and you can pull this ring off. It's actually in there really good right now, so there we go. That's your ring. There's 2 sides to this ring. You can put this in upside down, like I said. You notice how those are, the edges on these are nice and sharp. On these, see how they're different? They're not so blocky. They're pin, like air, kind of triangled out, whatever you want to, I don't know. Anyways, that part has to go down. If you don't have it down, you're going to screw shit up. I already did it. Trust me. So, and then you can take this crap apart. You can literally pull all this shit out and inspect everything if you want. And just make sure that you put it all back together correctly. There's notches. See how that moves? So it's not, you can't really screw that part of it up. But yeah, you can screw this part of it up. So when you put it back on, the shaved ends go down, like I said, and you want to have one of the teeth right on top of one of those tabs. And it's not going to feel right. Like right now, it's really tough, but you can push it down in there, and now it's tight. And there's one of the teeth, and it's stuck underneath that tab-ish. But yeah, that's how it has to be. If it is not like that, you will fuck your shit up. So don't make that mistake. Okay? And that's pretty much it. Once you've inspected all of your stuff and replaced whatever else you needed, you just do everything in reverse and put it all back in. Take your 4-low mode ring. Actually, get your fork around it first. That's the easiest way. You can actually take these 2 pieces apart too. They just slide apart. There's nothing that really holds them together. There's a spring in there and stuff. I didn't need to really mess with it, so I didn't. It doesn't need to be messed with. But once you get that in there, line up that dowel with the slot here. Everything slides in, fits nice. Then you can put your mode fork on, which that's damaged, so I'm just going to leave it out for now. So, but normally you'd have your mode fork on, and what I do is take the mode fork, put it on here, and then I will have the dowel already in. There is down at the bottom here, there is a groove for the dowel to sit in. See how I'm shaking it and it's not moving around? It's in the groove, so it's where it's supposed to be. Also, like I said, make sure you get this guy into the 2-wheel drive setup. You'll figure it out. You'll have to mess with it. Basically, with the right here, it kind of gullies and then comes up again. Your mode fork, the big fork, the dowel needs to be sitting right here. Let's see if I can get a better shot of that. Sorry. It needs to be sitting right here. That will make, if it's in that position right there, you are in 2-wheel drive. If it's all the way up here, you're going to be up in the 4-wheel drive range. So, yeah. Anyways, do not put this case back together in 4-wheel drive. You'll break something. So anyways, then you just, like I said, then you just slide it all back in there. And then get your pump lined up. At this time would be, actually you don't even have to worry about this at this time. At this time, this would be the time that you would put your chain on. Get your chain back on. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but I mean, it's not that bad either. Get your chain on. Once you got your chain on, you can put your filter set up back. Actually, I think I'm going to take that back. I'm going to say go ahead and put your filter and your pickup line back in first before you put the chain on. So that way this is already back there and you don't have to finagle with this shit and whatever else. So this it actually wraps around the pump like so. Make sure that that gasket is in there, that O-ring. If it's not in there, you will screw yourself. And then hook it. I'm not going to do it now because it's a pain in the ass doing it one-handed. But slide this into the filter and you're good. Don't forget your magnet. Slides right in there. And then you put your chain on. And let's see. Then you can actually put your case back on, get your clip in, bolt it all back together, put your motor back on, and your plug. You'll want to make sure that, actually you want to put that plug in first. Where the hell is that thing? Did I put it back in it? No. Back here, that plug deal for the motor that I was talking about earlier. Make sure you have that in before you assemble everything else. I just kind of skipped that part because I forgot that I had taken it out. Don't forget you take shit out. Whatever you take out, make sure you put it back in and you're good to go. And basically that should be it. Once it goes back together, it should drive just fine. If it doesn't drive fine, you put something in the wrong place, or there's a part that needs to be replaced that you didn't replace. I hope this video helps you out. I know it's a little lengthy, but it's got a lot of information in it that needs to be said. Oh, one last thing. I did not mention the little rubber gasket deal here for the shaft, the drive shaft. Drive shaft just slides right in here. You're supposed to have the drain hole on the bottom of the casing. So, just so you know, there's also another part of this gasket in there that has a hole facing down also. Both holes face down when you're installing this new setup here. Yep, that should be it. I don't really think I have much more to say. Yeah, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and do your thing. And yeah, I hope, like I said, I hope this helps you out because like I said, I couldn't find shit on YouTube and it was driving me nuts. Nobody even showed you anything about it. And if you've never done this type of thing before, it takes time and it gets frustrating. But once you've done it a couple of times, like I screwed up a few times now it's super easy. And it's like I could do several of these a day, no problem. Anyways, y'all have a good day. Thank you.